Before the first sound is heard, before the trumpet is lifted, before heaven leans toward the earth, a moment stirs, ancient, immense, and filled with purpose. This is the morning of eternity made visible, the hour when joy long withheld prepares to overflow, when the King who has died for love stands ready to claim the bride he has waited for across all time. In the heights of heaven, where light moves like breath, where mountains shine with living stone, and seas reflect glory beyond imagining, the redeemed gather, the hosts stand ready, and every prayer, every sigh, every act of faith whispered through the ages awaits fulfillment. Here, at the edge of eternity, everything pauses. The throne radiates, the rainbow glows, and the Son, the Bridegroom, stands on the threshold, ready to step forward. And below, the world does not yet know that this is the day when heaven's love will reach out to meet it. Prepare to enter the vision, to walk the terraces of heaven, to behold the anticipation, the beauty, and the joy that has been gathering since the dawn of creation. Let's begin. The morning heaven turned its face toward earth. If heaven has mornings, this was one of them. Not because light began, light has never ceased, but because purpose stirred. The vast expanse of heaven felt newly attentive, as though eternity itself had inclined its head, listening for a word it had always known would come. The holy mountain of God stood radiant as ever, its foundations layered in living stone, sapphire depths glowing like captured oceans, jasper facets refracting light into colors no earthly prism could name, veins of chrysolite and beryl threading through onyx black brilliance, not dark but deep, like night filled with stars. Gold flowed through the mountain like breath through lungs, not molten, not fixed, but alive. Terraces ascended the mountain sides, broad and luminous, each step bearing the echo of faith. Prayers once offered in trembling voices, now fulfilled in light. Paths wound upward, not worn down by time, but made smooth by obedience remembered. At the summit stood the throne. It did not dominate the mountain, it completed it. The throne appeared as sapphire, yet deeper than stone, translucent, endless, alive. Light moved within it, not flashing or pulsing, but circulating like wisdom in motion. Authority radiated from it without force, steady and absolute, the kind that needs no reinforcement. Above and around the throne encircled the emerald rainbow, not arcing across sky, but forming a living crown. Its green fire spoke of covenant unbroken, of life preserved through judgment, of mercy that had endured longer than rebellion. It did not shimmer, it remained. Before the throne stretched the sea, not water, yet fluid in reflection, not glass, yet flawless as crystal. The sea of glass lay vast and boundless, smooth beyond imagination, reflecting heaven without distortion. Every color, every movement, every glory passed into it and returned unbroken. It carried weight and bore it gladly. Those who stepped upon it did not fear falling. Truth does not give way beneath those who walk in it. Upon the sea sat the 24 elders. They were robed in garments woven of light and substance together, white, yet layered with pearl and gold, flowing as though responsive to glory itself. Their faces bore the dignity of ages without the burden of decay. No lines of weariness marked them. No frailty clung to their forms. Their eyes held memory, long watching, long worshiping, long waiting, and now recognition. Crowns of refined gold rested upon their heads, intricate yet unadorned, authority worn lightly, because it had never belonged to them alone. Some sat in stillness. Some leaned forward slightly. All knew, this day is different. Closest to the throne were the living ones. Cherubim, vast and complex, stood with wings interlocked, their forms layered in strength and intelligence, faces bearing meanings beyond language. Their movement produced a sound like distant thunder, restrained in harmony, not noise, but power at rest. Seraphim burned, not chaotically, but with focused purity. Fire shaped them and flowed through them, yet consumed nothing. When they spoke, reality listened. Holy. The word moved outward like a wave, touching mountain, sea, and host alike. Holy. The sea of glass answered with reflected glory. Holy. Heaven remembered why it existed. Beyond them, filling the immeasurable expanses, stood the hosts of heaven. Myriads upon myriads, arranged not by rank alone, but by purpose fulfilled. Archangels stood as pillars of command, their presence anchoring regions of heaven, authority flowing through them like a calm and mighty current. Messenger angels moved like thought given direction, appearing and vanishing, bearing confirmations rather than questions. Watchers stood solemn and ancient, their gaze spanning ages, their silence heavy with understanding. Orders beyond human naming stood ready, each perfectly aligned, not restless, not strained, prepared. And among the light, along the terraces of the mountain and near the sea, stood the redeemed, men and women from every age and land, whole and radiant, clothed in garments that reflected individuality without division. Cultures once separated by language and time now stood together, familiar without confusion. Some recognized one another instantly. Others felt recognition bloom before memory caught up. There were tears, but here, tears carried release, not sorrow. Adam stood in awe, not of the throne he had once known, but of the multitude gathered where he had once stood alone. Abraham beheld the promise fulfilled. Stars gathered into family. David gazed upon a king greater than himself and felt no loss, only joy. Martyrs bore no wounds, the weary carried no fatigue. The unseen faithful stood known at last. And then, movement. Yahushua stepped forward. He did not emerge suddenly. He had been there all along. Yet now heaven oriented itself around him. Light recognized its source. Glory framed him without obscuring his form. He bore the strength of David's line and the humility of the Lamb. His features were unmistakably human, Hebrew, strong, compassionate, yet glorified beyond decay. His garments spoke of kingship fulfilled, deep royal blue, crimson rich as wine, edged with gold that glowed rather than dazzled. The marks remained, not wounds, but testimony. As he moved, joy spread, not excitement that overwhelms, but fullness that steadies. Angels bowed instinctively. The redeemed felt something rise within them, hope long fulfilled swelling into joy, too deep for sound. He walked toward the place where heaven leans toward the clouds that have been gathering, obedient and luminous, waiting beyond sight. The sea of glass responded, reflecting not change in God, but turning of purpose. The elders rose, not commanded, not compelled, moved. Crowns felt lighter still. The temple, vast and living, breathed. Pillars of living gold hummed softly. Incense thickened, not with smoke, but with memory. Every prayer, every groan, every whispered trust now gathered, not replayed, but answered. The hosts aligned, not for war, for reunion. The Father's presence settled into profound stillness, not deliberation, but perfect timing. Authority rested complete. Mercy stood ready to move first. Yahushua paused, not in hesitation, but in love that lingers. He looked upon those already gathered, then toward the earth unseen beneath listening clouds. The bride, known, named, sealed, was about to hear his voice, and heaven, vast and ancient and radiant beyond telling, leaned forward together, joy rising like a tide held just beneath the surface, waiting for the sound that would change everything. Near the sea of glass, an angel stepped forward. He carried the trumpet, a living, radiant instrument, golden and threaded with light, formed not merely to be held, but to declare truth itself. He raised it slowly to his lips. All eyes turned. The hosts froze in anticipation. Cherubim and seraphim stilled in mid-motion. The elders leaned slightly forward. The redeemed inhaled, unconsciously, together. Yahushua looked over them all, then turned to the throne. The Father looked back, and there it was, the smile. Not indulgent, not sentimental, but deep, eternal, and full. Delight in what had been accomplished, joy in what was about to unfold. The sun met that gaze, a radiant reflection of perfect love, and nodded subtly, a small movement, complete. Go, claim your bride. Heaven held its breath. The angel lifted the trumpet fully. The mouthpiece touched his lips. The clouds leaned closer, obedient. The sea of glass seemed to tighten in anticipation. Every angel, every elder, every redeemed soul poised in perfect unity. Yahushua stepped forward toward the threshold, the boundary between heaven and earth. His hand rested upon the door, and in that instant, just before it opened, the world below, oblivious, distracted, weary, had no idea what was about to take place, and the prepared bride, walking the earth today, those who had been waiting, longing, believing, were about to behold their bridegroom.